If a person is in doubt about whether something is permissible or not, he should stay away from it. Use only things that are not doubtful. Stay away from doubtful foods. Do not eat such food which you are not sure of.
This hadith is sponsored by Ashraful Aid, international humanitarian organization.
Are you looking for a meaningful way to fulfill your zakat obligation? Look no further than Ashraful Aid. With our trusted track record, your zakat reaches those who need it the most in the most honorable and dignified manner. Visit our website at www.ashrafulaid.org.
Sunnah a Day, proudly brought to you by Sunpick, 100% pure sunflower cooking oil. Sunpick, cook more with less.
Sunnah a day. The following dua should be recited before entering the bathroom. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-khubuthi wal-khaba'ith. O Allah, I seek your protection from the male and female devil. Enter the bathroom with the left foot.
Sunnah a Day, proudly brought to you by Sunpick, 100% pure sunflower cooking oil. Sunpick, cook more with less.
Imagine this. You're putting together a 7-color meal, from the creamy pasta to the glazed carrots and flavorful onion gravy. This entire meal is made with our 100% pure extra virgin olive oil from our La Familia range, bringing outstanding quality and taste to your kitchen. Shop La Familia 100% pure extra virgin olive oil at any leading supermarkets near you. La Familia, heart of the home.
Randerie Jewelers, a family-owned business since 1992, prides itself on delivering exceptional quality jewelry crafted with precision and care. Specializing in gold and diamond pieces, we offer our customers timeless designs at competitive prices. Rooted in strong Islamic business ethics and values, we prioritize integrity, honesty, and customer satisfaction in every transaction. With over 3 decades of expertise, Randerie Jewelers has built a reputation for unmatched craftsmanship, making us the trusted choice in luxury jewelry that embodies both elegance and ethical standards. Randerie Jewelers, the family name you can trust.
The Sufi Sahib family and the Mohamed Yusuf family of Atomic Demolishers invites you and your family to the 132nd Urus Sharif of Hazrat Khaja Khajigan, Khaja Gharib Nawaz, Hazrat Shah Ghulam Muhammad Sufi Sahib and Hazrat Shah Abdul Aziz Sufi Dadajan from the 1st of January to the 5th of January 2025. Wednesday, 1st January 2025. Dusi Sharif of Hazrat Shah Ghulam Muhammad Sufi Sahib and Hazrat Shah Abdul Aziz Sufi Dadajan. Langar supper will be served Mehfil Sama Kawali after Isha.
The Outreach Slice of Life campaign. Since its inception, our Slice of Life has touched the lives of countless individuals through our distribution to schools, old age homes, orphanages, and deserving families within our community. This initiative has been instrumental in alleviating hunger. For only 9 rand a loaf, you will be providing a family with their daily staple, bread. Donate now on www.alansar.org.za or call Outreach on 031 208 1601.
Welcome to Simplex Radio. Visit our showroom for the full range of car audio. Our TV department carries top brands with quality LED panels, full HD to Ultra HD, and now the experience of Super Ultra HD. Visit our theater rooms and transform your home with brands like Onkyo, Integra, Denon, Boston Acoustics, Yamaha, and more for quality audio visual experience. Now available full range of home appliances. A one-stop shopping experience. Call 031 306 4029 or Kenilworth Park, 202 Brickfield Road, Overport. Simplex Radio, the name you can trust.
Wonder Dates, your one-stop shop for all your dates, nuts, dried fruit, spices, biltong, biscuits, sweets, chocolates, Islamic lifestyle goodies, and so much more. Wonder Dates is known to import unique and unusual products from around the world. So, if you're looking for something nutty, nibbly, chewy, munchy, sweet, sour, or savory, make a date with Wonder Dates. Visit us at 9 Peter Road, Springfield, Durban, or call on us on 031 577 7722 or shop online at www.wonderdates.com. start online. Wonder Dates, bringing the freshness of the farm into your home.
Planning a year-end function? Let Al-Ansar Deli make it unforgettable. With delicious customized catering for up to 50 people, we've got everything you need to celebrate in style at Al-Ansar Conference Center. Perfect for companies looking to end the year on a high note with flavor, ease, and a touch of class. Book now and let us handle the rest. Call Fatima Carrim on 081-746-0201. Al-Ansar Deli, where every event is served with a smile. 207 West Road, Overport.
Getting you through your day. Radio Al-Ansar.
Listen to News in Focus on Radio Al-Ansar, Durban 90.4 and Petermarisburg 105.6 FM every Wednesday from 8 p.m. with Yunus Sacoor. That's 8 p.m. every Wednesday. Radio Al-Ansar, keeping you informed.
खुदा ने मुझको दिया तेरे दुआओं से तेरी दुआओं से मिला है जो भी मिला तेरे दुआओं से तेरी दुआओं से तेरी दुआओं से जहाँ जहाँ भी गया दिल बिछाने लगे जहाँ जहाँ भी गया दिल बिछाने लगे ये
Want a transformation like no other? It's all happening live at the souk.
I'll get your styling on point with looks that work for you.
From flawless skin to stunning makeup, I've got you beauty covered, darling.
And I'll bring your wardrobe to life with fashion that speaks to your style.
Enter now on Instagram with hashtag Al-Ansar Makeover. And we'll see you live on the 24th, 25th, and 26th.
खुदा ने मुझको दिया तेरे दुआओं से तेरी दुआओं से मिला है जो भी मिला तेरी दुआओं से तेरी दुआओं से तेरी दुआओं से जहाँ जहाँ भी गया दिल बिछाने लगे जहाँ जहाँ भी गया दिल बिछाने लगे ये है तेरा मेरा माँ तेरी दुआओं से तेरी दुआओं से माँ तेरी दुआओं से माँ तेरी दुआओं से माँ की दुआ जन्नत की भाषा की दुआ जन्नत की दुआ जन्नत की हवा की दुआ जन्नत की हवा ये कामयाबियां शोहरत कदम कदम पे मिली ये कामयाबियां शोहरत कदम कदम पे मिली नसीब ऐसा मिला माँ तेरी दुआओं से तेरी दुआओं से माँ तेरी दुआओं से माँ तेरी दुआओं से तवाफ मैंने किया की सही बर्बादी तवाफ मैंने किया की सही बर्बादी जो मैंने मेरा किया माँ तेरी दुआओं से तेरी दुआओं से माँ तेरी दुआओं से माँ तेरी दुआओं से मुझे गिराने पे हासिद तुले हुए थे मगर मुझे गिराने पे हासिद तुले हुए थे मगर मैं दुश्मनों से बचा माँ तेरी दुआओं से तेरी दुआओं से माँ तेरी
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another edition of Newsfeed Focus live on Radio Al Ansar International, broadcasting on the frequency Durban 90.4 FM, Peter Marisburg 105.6 FM, and audio streaming on www.alansar.org.za. My guest at the studio asked me, what is the need for reminding people of the frequency? But a lot of people may be listening on streaming, and there's a potential of them getting into FM Durban 90.4, and our PMberg listeners 105.6 FM. Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaba bikum. My name is Yunus Sacoor, and I will be in your company for the next 2 hours, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. I will be interviewing guests shortly. Today the date is the 18th of December 2024 and 17th of Jamil Akhir 1446 AH. So we are about 12 days into the year end, and a year has come and gone. People have finished their exams. A lot of people who spent 5 or 6 years studying medicine have graduated. Last week we had Mohamed Suleiman with us, who just graduated, and he's going to serve his internship. Today we have Dr. Yasir Sacoor, who graduated 2 years ago, and he will be chatting with us, the journey into medicine, since he graduated. So we've got another perspective. And the reason why I'm inviting graduates from different professions live in the studio is to give our matriculants an indication as to how to work out a career path that will be useful for them going forward. So on tonight's show, our topic is we're going to talk about the highlights of the last term of Parliament, because my show cannot be completed without some politics. Otherwise, people say that, that's not news in focus. And then also connecting Parliament to the people. So unlike the past, where there used to be, information policies just push down the consumers and the residents' throats. Now it's a consultative process. And the third aspect is civic activism, which is crucial, because if we look at the state of our infrastructure, our roads, our service delivery, it is cause for concern. People are paying rates and taxes, and they're wanting to know, how do they get back to government and council to hold them accountable? But having said that, we know some of our municipalities, we need serious changes. We need an overhauling of personnel, because many municipalities, people are virtually doing nothing. And in December, they regard it as a month of a holiday. They come to work in the morning, they disappear and come and sign the register at 4 o'clock and then ensure they get their bonuses and their paychecks and they have a nice holiday. Not that they don't have a holiday for the better part of the year. So that is a serious problem. And we're going to chat about it. But a very important aspect today is, career opportunities. And we're choosing medical science because some of the doctors are keen to chat with us. And obviously, it's not an easy profession. You've got to study for 6 years and then 2 years of internship. It's 8 years. And 8 years is a lot of time to become a doctor. But you've got to become a quality doctor. So this is why we invite young graduates, young doctors, and then many of them specialize. They become neurologists, cardiologists, thoracic surgeons, orthopedic surgeons, etc. And that is another couple of years. So many of these specialists spend 8 to 9 years and 10 years in careers to really specialize. So when one goes to any one of these hospitals and the charges are extremely high, these doctors have spent that time qualifying. However, that does not rule out the fact that the government hospitals should be providing subsidized healthcare, but the standard is somewhat not as good as a private hospital. So we need to debate that issue. And then last but not least, Al Ansar Foundation is hosting the Durban Summer souk in a week's time, next Tuesday. And we will chat briefly about what can people expect at the Durban Summer souk, because it is a fair of about 13 days. And a lot of people that cannot afford to go on holiday outside the province would like to spend a couple of days in the souk, some even the full 13 days as well, because they enjoy it. There's a lot of activities, things to do. So we're going to chat about that. So on the guest on the show tonight, we have Dr. Yasir Sacoor. He's a general practitioner. He got his own medical health surgery. But a little bit about Dr. Yasir Sacoor. He was a student in Durban High School, which is around the corner. And he had an average percentage when he completed matric of 92%. It was quite a high achievement. He got admitted into University of KwaZulu-Natal in 2015, and in 2020 he completed his studies. He studied for a Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery, MBCHB. He got an average percentage qualification of 72%, which is extremely high for medicine. And he basically thereafter served his internship in a few hospitals. I think the first one was with the KZN Department of Health from January 2021 to December 2022. Then he joined the Western Cape Department of Health from January 2023 to December 2023 in a hospital in Ceres. That's where all the fruit farms are in the Western Cape. So he may have been enjoying the fruit there. I'm not sure whether there's cherries grown there, but there's a lot of other fruit. But it's a very dry part of Cape Town. And he spent a year there. He enjoyed having qualified and spent a lot of time. He did some locums, and then eventually he opened up his own practice called MediHealth Surgery. So Yasir Sacoor is getting on with life, and later on he might want to specialize depending on his aptitude to study. So we will interview Yasir shortly, but I just want to comment on a few headlines from the political perspective. Mbalula accuses Lisufi, which is the Gauteng premier, of lying about Gauteng's balance of power. Now we know with the emergence of MK, which we'll talk about later, Lisufi's close alliance with other political parties has some cause for concern. Shivambu commends Zuma for breaking away from ANC to form MK party. And we know Shivambu was with the EFF, one of the founder members, but he switched sometime this year. And he was a Zuma ally for a long time, and Zuma knew exactly how to attract his allies away from the ANC. Then we had, the MK looking back at 2024, and they say it's a defining year in SA politics. Now, defining year means that MK has made its inroads, but who is MK? MK is obviously a breakaway party from the African National Congress and partly from the EFF. So whether they did it in, out of concern for the manner in which the ANC is running government, or whether they concerned that in view of the recommendations of the Zondo Commission, many of them would be implicated, including the leader, Jacob Zuma. So we will do some discussions around those issues. But I want to kick off today's discussion with Dr. Yasir Sacoor. Yasir, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to News in Focus live on Radio Al-Ansar International.
Jazakallah khair. Firstly, I want to say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to the listeners of Radio Al-Ansar, and good evening to the non-Muslim viewers. And I'd like to extend a thank you for the producers of this program for giving me the opportunity and the privilege to be on this evening.
Okay. Yasir, what we decided to do is, as part of developing our professionals and also encouraging them to give valid information to our matriculants who are expecting results early next year. Some of them have chosen careers, others have not. And if they've chosen careers, they want some kind of an indicator as to whether they chose the right career, because you can always adjust. Now, I mentioned in the preamble that you matriculated in Durban High School, and thereafter you achieved a very high pass rate, 92%, and you then decided to choose a medical career.
Yes.
Now, I'm not sure whether that is in the genes of the family, or is it you felt you have the aptitude for medicine and that's a career you want to follow. Perhaps you just want to explain to our listeners what prompted you, not only because you had a good pass rate to get admitted into University of KZN Medical School. We know it's difficult to get in there, but obviously you had an aptitude for medical sciences to take that profession instead of commerce, which your two brothers followed and maybe your uncles followed in the past. I know some of your cousins are doctors as well. But what prompted you to follow the medical profession? Because this is more advice to our matriculants and other budding students out there.
So what prompted me to follow within the medical fraternity? Leaving matric, I was very anxious, as well I was very nervous, because it's a very heavy-handed very heavy-handed decision that you're making. It's not a decision like buying a chicken tikka or buying, a Happy Meal. This is something that will determine your satisfaction. It will determine your personal life for the rest of your life. So my advice for matrics would be to have proper career counseling prior to making such a big decision, because not everything is as it seems on a face level. You need to truly think about what your life wants, what you want your life to be, how you want to structure your finances. But again, that is determined by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So don't worry about that too much. And the main thing is how you want your life to be and what sort of a role do you want to play in society. Because as a whole, doctors, yes, you respect it, but you have a responsibility to patients, in that when I was working in government and even in private, you need to be the advocate for patients. You need to promote them and educate them about their health, because oftentimes patients, they didn't study for 6 years, they didn't go through the relevant training. So yes, they are educated, but it's as much as you can get from Google. And when you're inundated with the knowledge, it becomes difficult to filter it out. So as such, as a medical professional, it's your role to advocate for patients, as well as ensure that their best interest and their best health is at stake, because they are trusting you. And that's what a lot of people take for granted, is that when a patient comes to you, they're putting their lives, they're putting their time in your trust. So that's a very important aspect of health.
6 years or 5 years studies. I'm not sure how much is it. 6 years before you serve your Indian.
6 years, yeah.
6 years.
Well, it's a minimum of 6 years.
Yeah, it's a mountain to climb when you come into medical school, because the gap between metric and medical school is an enormous gap. And a lot of our potential medical students out there don't know what they're getting into until they go to medical school. And in University of KZN, you have a quota system with about 10% Indians, 10% whites, 80% Africans. So it's a different culture, because more often than not, you're studying at DHS, there's a particular culture there. When you get into university, it may not be hands-on like how it is in the universities. So you got a mountain to climb, and you said there are costs attached to studying. If you don't get a bursary, there are enormous costs. So you got to make sure you go in there and you give it your best shot and you pass and you move on. And within the 6-year period, you qualify, so that you don't waste time, number one, because that is loss of income. And at the same time, it doesn't cost you more to study. So when you approach university, how were you able to adapt to that change from high school to university? And how did you psychologically motivate yourself that I've got 6 years ahead of me, I'm going to work hard and make sure I qualify within that period? What came in your mind? Because obviously those that are matriculating now are going to start working out. I'll have to park 6 years in UKZN. I don't know if I've got transport. I'll have to catch a lift, or I'll have to take a Uber. Or if my dad is good enough to buy me a cab, I'm going to make a plan and go there. And it's going to be really hard work. So what advice you'll give to our matriculants? That, listen, don't have any fear. It is not as bad as what we think. It's not as tough as you think. And some information you'd like to share with those matriculants that are listening, that, listen, 6 years will come and go quickly, and you're going to be in the same setup as me, and you're going to enjoy it. Bismillah.
So the first thing I want to say is marks are coming out in around 2 to 3 weeks. So some people may get a positive result in that, let's say they applied to medical school at UKZN and they got accepted. And some people may receive a negative result. And, maybe they wanted to study medicine, their heart was set out to it, or study engineering. And unfortunately, their taqdeer was that they're going to have more obstacles prior to entering into their dream career or dream job for whatever reason. I first want to say that to the new matrics, don't feel down, don't feel depressed. There's no such thing as you're behind in life, in anything. Because in order for you to be behind, as I told my colleague earlier, you need to be chasing. What are you chasing? Nobody's chasing anything. You are on your own journey, and everything is according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's divine decree and at the correct time. So that's the first thing I want to say. So make the most out of the opportunities that are provided with you. In anything in life, 40 years back, there was the apartheid. My father, my uncles, they made the most out of the opportunities. 20 years back, it was the end of apartheid and the country was booming. You make the most out of the opportunities. So similarly now, there's always going to be obstacles, but don't ever look at the negative side of things. Always come into something with a positive aspect, and how can you make the most out of the circumstances that you want to, such that you can achieve what you want to achieve. So going back to your question, when I entered medical school, I didn't have any mentors. I didn't have any advisors. I didn't have anything because it was completely new for me. My family members, they graduated quite a while before, and I didn't know anyone from matric because UKZN, the quotas and things like that. Now, these people that I was with, my colleagues, my friends, they were of a different socioeconomic background. They were different of cultural background. So I didn't know what to expect entering. But alhamdulillah, with the support of my parents, with the support of my family, with the support of my brothers, my sisters, as well as my mentors, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy, by giving me the ability to go to medical school, giving me the ability to study, giving me the ability to have the mental fortitude and the mental health to pass. Alhamdulillah, I'm now in a situation where I've overcome that obstacle. So the viewers, if you're Muslim or non-Muslim, realize that, listen, in life, you are never alone. Even if you are alone, you are never alone, because you always have God with you. You always have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never provide you with a challenge or an obstacle which you are not able to overcome.
Very well presented, Yasir. We'll take a break for Isha Azan. Inshallah, we'll continue after that.
This Azan is sponsored for the Isale Sawab of Marhum Muhammad Farooq Latib and all Marhumin. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them the highest abode in Jannah. Ameen.
أعزائي المستمعين، حان الآن موعد أذان العشاء لمدينة دربن وما حولها.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا
اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة والدرجة الرفيعة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته وارزقنا شفاعته يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد.
This dua brought to you by Simplex Radio, South Africa's leading retailer of appliances, car sound and home theater systems.
These surahs after Azan are brought to you by Amina's Wonder Spice and Wonder Dates, 9 Peters Road, Springfield, Durban.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس.
This salah is proudly brought to you by Khan's Chemical Industry. May this salah enlighten your soul and bring about endless blessings throughout your day. This salah was proudly brought to you by Khan's Chemical Industry. May this salah enlighten your soul and bring about endless blessings throughout your day.
Having a clean, comfortable home is every homeowner's pride. That's why Khan's Chemicals have developed and manufactured prime yet affordable quality household brands. Starlight, Miracle Mum, Exterminate, and Angie to care for your home and family. With a wide range of fabric softeners, dishwashing liquids, bleachers and all-purpose cleaners, pine gels, bubble baths and much more. Khan's Chemicals ensures your home remains our #1 priority. For sales and other inquiries, call 011 933 4021. Khan's Chemicals, cleaning your home the way you want.
At this time of trial and worry, the blessings of charity are the ideal means to avoid calamity and despair. The Al-Imdad Foundation gives you the opportunity to sponsor a share in a borehole in South Africa for just 1,000 rand and provide what the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, called the best form of charity. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
Ideal Seasons gifting ideas. The Milex Slushy Maker Powerful Motor for chunks or crushed ice at 899, saving you 300 rand. Philip No Burn Iron for jeans or silk clothing. No risk for burns or shine marks at the unbelievable price of 999, saving 500 rand. The Culinarium, changing your house into a home.
Bars where shopping is fun. And you are #1.
Butterlicious, butterlicious, butterlicious. When the food melts in my mouth, so does my heart. Blended by our expert chefs with pure cotton seed oil. Divine lasts longer, so cook more with Divine. Divine makes every meal a special treat. It is butterlicious. Approved as part of the Heart and Stroke Foundation Eating Plan, Cotton Mark SA, and a proudly South African product. Divine Cooking Oil. Butterlicious.
This segment is brought to you by Kenfield Auto, your RMI approved service and repair specialist. 236 Brickfield Road, Overport.
Kenfield Auto.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. ربنا وأدخلهم جنات عدن التي وعدتهم ومن صلح من آبائهم وأزواجهم وذرياتهم إنك أنت العزيز الحكيم وقهم السيئات ومن تق السيئات يومئذ فقد رحمته وذلك هو الفوز العظيم.
Car won't start?
Can feel auto.
Noisy brakes?
Can feel auto.
Due for a service?
Can feel auto.
Kenfield Auto, the answer to all your car problems. Your service and repair specialist for your VW, Audi, Suzuki, Toyota, or just about any vehicle. Kenfield Auto, your RMI and insurance approved workshop to handle them all. 236 Brickfield Road, Overport. Call us on 031 207 2399. Kenfield Auto.
Craving for a taste of Palestine? Join us every Saturday this December at Ghazalicious for a Mediterranean buffet that's simply unforgettable. From crispy falafel and creamy hummus to mouth-watering makluba and kofta, we've got it all. All this for just 220 Rand per person. Kids under 14 for 180 and kids under 5 eat free. Plus, enjoy complimentary beverages. WhatsApp us on 074 912 8088 or visit us at the Village Market in Westville. We're open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Ghazalicious. Taste the difference. Make a difference.
Want to enjoy all this fun? It's only 30 Rand to enter the Durban Summer Souk. For just a small entry fee, you get access to everything. The food, the entertainment, the fashion, and so much more. Don't miss the best summer event in Durban. Get ready for 13 days of excitement this summer. Durban Summer Souk.
As heavy snow and bitter winds descend on Gaza, Afghanistan, and Lebanon, hundreds of displaced and refugee families struggle to survive the winter. Without adequate shelter or clothing, the harsh weather threatens lives. Donate towards AMA's Winter Rescue Campaign to provide the food, fuel, and shelter needed by families in Gaza, Lebanon, and Afghanistan to survive the elements and provide warmth to those in need.
This dua for protection from bad decree is brought to you by Continental Butcher Baker Deli. Quality, freshness, and value. Our promise to you since 1992.
اللهم إني أعوذ بك من جهد البلاء ودرك الشقاء وسوء القضاء وشماتة الأعداء.
If you're looking for a delicious selection of freshly made baked goods, decadent deli treats, and succulent meats, there's no need to chop around anymore. Continental Butcher Baker Deli offers an award-winning service, presenting exceptional quality at competitive prices. Superb choice-grade lamb, beef, and chicken, mouth-watering homemade processed meats and gourmet marinades, and scrumptious baked goodies. Quality, freshness, and a money-back guarantee. Visit Continental in Argyle Road.
Continental Sausage Circus, now featuring 80 different types of sausages. Hurry before there's not a sausage.
We'd love to meet you. Pay us a visit. Radio Al Ansar.
की महफिलें तो हम सजाएंगे रबीउल का महीना आ गया रबीउल का महीना आ गया रबी की महफिलें तो हम सजाएंगे ये दुनिया जो कहे नहीं परवाह कोई ये दुनिया जो कहे नहीं परवाह कोई जश्न नबी का हम सदा मनाएंगे रबीउल का महीना आ गया रबीउल का महीना आ गया नबी की महफिलें तो हम सजा है विलादत शगे अंबिया की उस नबी मुस्तफा की जिसके दम से है रौनक जहां की उस हबीबे खुदा की समाये चार सू उन्हीं की गुफ्तगू समाये 400 उन्हीं की गुफ्तगू उन्हीं के जिक्र से ये दिन मनाएंगे महीना आ गया.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to News in Focus live on Radio Al Ansar International, broadcasting on the frequency Durban 90.4 FM, Peter Marisburg 105.6 FM, and streaming on www.alansar.org.za. Before the news break and the ad break and the nasheed break, we were chatting with Dr. Yasir Sacoor, a general practitioner running a medical health surgery, and he gave us a bit of a indicator and advice to our would-be medical students as to the journey that will take you to eventually qualify. He mentioned some important points there that, if you think you're alone, definitely you're not. You have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with you, and you must just be focused to, keep up with your ibadat. And inshallah, the journey and the road will be clear for you to achieve your objective within the time frames. We've got 10 minutes before the news break, and I wanted, Yasir to give us an indication that he served his internship at the different hospitals. And obviously, you would have experienced some, sort of medical situations, not only in the trauma units, because I think normally intern doctors, they put them quite often in the trauma unit. And when you land up there, you sort of experience a multiple of different cases. Perhaps you just having spent 2 years in the different hospitals, perhaps you just want to highlight to our listeners exactly what kind of experiences you've encountered with patients in the different hospitals. And you may want to sort of point out that some of these you cannot avoid, accidents and, sort of heart attacks, etc. Heart attacks you can avoid, but certain other calamities sometimes it's unexpected. So how did you manage coming out of medical school, dealing with these traumatic situations?
So entering the first year of internship, it was quite overwhelming because we were in the heart of the COVID virus. So I was in the front line of treating patients. On the first week, I had to go for a COVID test. And I witnessed numerous of my colleagues, my seniors, being out with the virus, with the pandemic. And at that time, we didn't know what to expect from the virus. We didn't know how severe it is, whether it's mild, whether it's minor. We thought that, listen, once you get the virus, it's game over for you. Those were the days back then. But regarding
it was around 2019 and you just
2019,
qualified
2020, you get that virus, we thought it was a death sentence. It's end of game. But alhamdulillah, we overcome it as a society and as the medical professional as well. And I think that virus and that pandemic gave new respect to the medical profession from society. You were able to understand the importance of having a good medical practitioner, as I said before, to advocate for you. But within my past 4 years of practice working in government sector, the main thing I want to talk about is you learn to be more empathetic and more patient with people. Oftentimes people come to you, they're not so well versed, and they coming to you, 90 kilometers, 100 kilometers, you the dokotela, you the person that makes or breaks them. So as a young person, 28, 27, 26, you dealing with elderly gogos, elderly, umkulus, they looking up to you. You young enough to be their grandchild, but you giving them advice. So it makes you mature at a very young age.
And where do you see them, at the trauma unit or maybe at the sort of where you are serving in the hospital, in the outpatient?
So I served in the trauma, doing calls once every four nights for a full year. This was last year. And then, you also work in the wards, treating various conditions, pneumonia, broken hips, rotating through, the departments, pediatrics, general surgery, obs and gynae, So you see, but the thing that stuck with me the most is the value of empathy. I've witnessed patients and babies taking their first breath, and I've witnessed people taking their last breath. I've witnessed families where they just lost their grandmother. And me being the medical professional, I need to now tell them. I need to tell the son. I need to tell the daughter that, listen, we did 20 minutes of resuscitation. We did everything we could, but sadly the patient was terminal with cancer. And as such, the patient is no longer with us. I witnessed the best and worst of people. Patients being stabbed, patients being shot, patients in theater, patients who, when I told them their mother passed away, they became aggressive. I've witnessed patients where if I told them their mother passed away, they fainted on me. They fainted out of shock. I've been inside, cages with criminals, being inside psychotic patients who are drug addicts, and that's something that's plaguing our community. So it gives you a lot of perspective into society that, listen, if you are privileged, appreciate it, make the most, but realize that you are not better than anybody. It's your role in anything to educate, to advocate, to be the beacon of hope for patients, whether they're young and whether they're old. And as such, in my clinical practice, something that I focus on is, screening and preventing ill health before it sets in. That's what I find is important. You notice that this is something from a personal perspective. I wasn't in Durban for the past 5 years, but alhamdulillah, I'm back. I'm back with my family, back with my parents, and I'm setting up my own practice in Kawi Road. So I have a passion for medical screening, and it comes from a personal perspective. Earlier this year, both my grandparents, they were walking and they broke their hips. And why did they break their hips? One, it's because they're elderly and it was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's will, but it could have been prevented with proper screening. If they visited the GP, if they visited someone who was available, and if they had proper care, they would have found out that they weren't vitamin D deficient. They would have found out that, listen, the calcium levels weren't low. They wouldn't have had a renal problem or a kidney problem. And as such, they would have had the adequate treatment and they wouldn't have broken the hip, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, yes, you have to be patient, but with every disease, He sends down a cure. So in the same way, there's a multitude of patients that have blood pressure, that have sugar, that have thyroid problems, that have heart problems, atrial fibrillation, arrhythmias in the heart, but they don't know. So something that I'm passionate about is, I said, screening. So as such, when my practice opens in January, or when it continues in January, I said that, listen, from 9:30 to 10, every day, I'll have a free medical screening. So patients can come and visit me at my surgery at Kawi Road. It's 90 Kawi Road. It's opposite the Astron Energy, the Caltex garage on Kawi Road, and opposite Kawi Park. And you can message me on my number. And then you just say, listen, I want to come for an appointment. So at that appointment, I'll do a weight, I'll do a height, I'll check your blood pressure, I'll check your sugar, I'll check your cholesterol if needed, and I'll give you a basic, about your diet. And this is all free. This is all free to benefit the ummah, benefit the community, because I'm a local boy. I'm a local boy. And it's about improving the health of the community. That's the main thing. So
you're basically saying you want to give back to the community. It's a humanitarian issue. A lot of people don't do these screening tests and they deteriorate, and suddenly when they have a relapse or whatever, then they realize they ought to have done these screening tests, etc. So what you're stressing, Yasir, is the fact that don't take your health for granted. If there are certain symptoms that are prevalent, have them checked out so you can prevent a problem later on. We got a minute or so before the news break. Perhaps you just want to make a further comment on what type of screening tests are important when they come to see a general practitioner.
So in my clinic, or in most clinics, the main thing is checking your blood pressure, checking your cholesterol, doing a ECG, depending on your risk factors. So if you have HIV, or if you, sexually active, doing a pap smear, doing a colonoscopy if you have a family history of colorectal cancer, if you have a family history of cancer, doing those cancer markers. So that's why it's important to visit the practitioner. And for me, 9:30 to 10 o'clock every day from January, you book by appointment. You can contact me on my number 083-656-9194. And it's all free. You just come, you say, listen, I want to check those things. And it's a way to give back to the community, because if you provide value, if you advocate for patients, if you are honest, and if you are truthful, and if you are authentic, I feel as though patients will appreciate that, and patients will be willing to trust you. So something that I do, I basically also run a small like educational videos which I post on Facebook. So it's on Instagram as well. It's on Facebook. It's Medi Health Surgery. So it's the name of my practice, MEDIHEALTH_surgery. So I talk about blood pressure. I talk about diabetes and sugar. I talk about, screening of cancer. It's more to educate patients. It's not something to say that, listen, you need to come to me, or you need to have to worry about all these things. But having the knowledge and propagating the knowledge, propagating these videos, it will only provide good. And for me, it's a way to provide sadaqah ijariya, continuous good to society. And if anything happens to me, those videos will always be there, and it will always, if it helps one person, it's a good thing.
There you are, some sort of important advices from Dr. Yasir. He wants to give back to the community. He's opening up his surgery for free screening tests, advice. And we have his contact details, but if you heard it on the phone, fine, you can get into his Facebook page. We will take a news break, and inshallah we'll continue our discussion with our other guests and Yasir Sacoor after the break.
An informative Islamic global perspective. This is Al Ansar News.
Making news this hour, the 18th of December. The news from Durban 90.4 FM, Pietermaritzburg 105.6 FM. Massive fire erupts at Jacobs factory. Ameri Kimonina. Several people have been injured in a factory fire in Jacobs, south of Durban. Paramedics and firefighters are at the scene on Milner Street. The injured are being treated for burns and smoke inhalation. The area's Etiquini Fire Division Commander Tabile Zigali is wading in.
Was an explosion, and we responded as quickly as we can, as we have a station around the corner. And when we arrived, there was a huge smoke, and then we started working. We had 2 lines going in with 2 men, and we started extinguishing the fire. There was about 15 patients that had to be taken to a hospital. The fire was contained as quickly as possible. According to the owner, it is a transformer, and when we went inside, we did see that 2 transformers. So the cause of the fire is electricity. It's a manufacturing plant. They are manufacturing shoes. It is a big a shop, as you can see, but we managed to contain the fire. Only the waste area that was affected.
More news. Rand Water's 86-hour maintenance program has been completed. However, for many of Johannesburg residents, that means nothing. Several suburbs are still battling dry taps, and some have been for weeks now, fearing bleak festive season. It has been devastating for the community of Coronationville, who complained that erratic supply has become the norm in the last 5 years. Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero will be updating residents on the recovery of the systems subsequently. More news. The deadline for Spaza shop owners to complete registration has been extended to the 28th of February 2025. Spaza shop and food handling business owners have to submit their completed applications with all necessary documentation at designated customer care centers. The registration was prompted by the illness and death of at least 20 children after they allegedly consumed food from Spaza shops. Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Velinkosini Hlabisa, briefed the media earlier today.
When it comes to how many people have died, I think what we can acknowledge is that the rising number of deaths, especially that was concerning us at most for our young children, has really come down. And that is what makes us pleased about the intervention. And that is what is going to make us to ensure that we do not go back to where we were, so that no more death. One will be too many, And as schools are closed, we are going to activate all systems and structures together with the Department of Education to be ready when the schools open, that all the tuck shops closer to the schools are registered and comply.
Yeah, international story. A Filipino who spent nearly 15 years on death row in Indonesia and was almost executed by a firing squad has returned home, where she now awaits a potential pardon in a woman's prison. Mary Jane Velosa landed at the Manila airport earlier today following a repatriation deal between the two countries that eliminated the threat of her execution, as the Philippines has long abolished the death penalty. The mother of two was arrested and sentenced to death in 2010 after a suitcase she was carrying was found to be lined with 2.6 kilograms of heroin. She flew home without handcuffs alongside Filipino correctional officials on an overnight commercial flight after a Jakarta ceremony marking the end of the harrowing chapter in Veloso's life. That's according to the Corrections Bureau. Veloso was flanked by heavy security upon her arrival at the airport and was transported straight to a prison facility for women. Her family and dozens of supporters chanting slogans such as "Clemency for Mary Jane" and "Free, Free Mary Jane," who were waiting outside the terminal, failed to greet Veloso on her arrival. That's according to international media. Your weather, it's 25 degrees. A quick reminder of our top story. Several people have been injured in a factory fire in Jacobs, south of Durban. That's the news.
They convince the world to believe that terrorists look like beards and thobes. Now, as the facade cracks, one martyr after another, the world sees through the broken windows and now knows the true face of terrorism. It wears suits and ties and smiles behind lies.
Welcome to Simplex Radio. Visit our showroom for the full range of car audio. Our TV department carries top brands with quality LED panels, full HD to Ultra HD, and now the experience of Super Ultra HD. Visit our theater rooms and transform your home with brands like Onkyo, Integra, Denon, Boston Acoustics, Yamaha, and more for quality audio-visual experience. Now available, full range of home appliances. A one-stop shopping experience. Call 031 306 4029 or Kenilworth Park, 202 Brickville Road, Overport. Simplex Radio, the name you can trust.
اللهم احفظ المسجد الأقصى من اليهود الحاقدين اللهم أعد المسجد الأقصى إلى رحاب المسلمين اللهم وطهر المسجد الأقصى من اليهود الغاصبين اللهم عليك بهم فإنهم لا يعجزونك يا قوي يا متين اللهم منزل الكتاب مجري السحاب هازم الأحزاب سريع الحساب اهزم اليهود وزلزلهم يا قوي يا عزيز.
Plan your dream holiday with the specialist, World of Travel, as we pride ourselves in offering you the best in Hajj and Umrah. We also offer travel packages to the Middle East, Far East, and many more exotic destinations. Call our professional travel consultants now on 031 20 888 or view our website www.worldoftravel.co.za. Visit us at 44 Crescent Street as memorable journeys begin with World of Travel by Irshad Malik.
Yellow and Sour Helping Hands with Aisha Jamal brings you the Animal Welfare Campaign. Help us make a difference.
Hey little bird.
Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, verily, there is heavenly reward for every act of kindness done to a living animal. We are in need of cat food, dog food, blankets, shelter, weatherproof kennels, and funds towards the above, as well as towards urgent cases where animals require medical attention. WhatsApp 060-971-9955 or 084-3041-683. Drop-off zone 207 West Road, Overport. Yadul Ansar, making a difference.
You've spent all that time, effort, and energy putting together an incredible business. Now, you need to tell people about your business. Advertising and marketing, it's what we do. Listen to this.
I'd like to say thank you to Al Ansar because after we aired last week, massive feedback, massive interest, which has been great. We've got so many potential clients in all the different areas from Pietermaritzburg to Durban North to Virginia.
Speak directly to your target audience. Get in touch with our sales department on 031 208 1601.
Listen to News in Focus on Radio Al Ansar, Durban 90.4 and Pietermaritzburg 105.6 FM every Wednesday from 8 p.m. with Yunus Sacoor. That's 8 p.m. every Wednesday. Radio Al Ansar, keeping you informed.
खुदा ने मुझको दिया माँ तेरी दुआओं से माँ तेरी दुआओं से मिला है जो भी मिला.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to News in Focus live on Radio Al Ansar International, broadcasting on the frequency Durban 90.4 FM, Pietermaritzburg 105.6 FM, and streaming in www.alansar.org.za. Before we continue with the balance of our show this evening, I want you to all to listen to a clip by our President Cyril Ramaphosa on real leadership. Catch a listen, inshallah, we'll continue with our show thereafter.
This issue that Donald Trump fears so much, we offer this question of the land. I don't know what Donald Trump has to do with South African land because he's never been here. And he must keep his America. We will keep our South Africa. South Africa is our land. South Africa belongs to all the people who live here in South Africa. It does not belong to Donald Trump. He can keep his America. And Ene is even worse. He's even worse. When I meet him, I will tell him. I'll say, you, Donald Trump, you are even worse because your forebears came to America. They found the native, the indigenous Americans. They wiped them out. They killed nearly all of them. We are living as a nation, and black and white, we are going to find solutions for our land question. So Donald Trump must leave us alone. He must leave us alone. When we were facing apartheid, when we were facing oppression, he was not here. He did not fight side by side with us. And we were able, on our own, yes, with support of progressive forces in the world, to resolve the apartheid question. As far as I recall, Donald Trump was not around the negotiating table when we negotiated the end of apartheid. So stick around there in the White House. We will do our business here, and we will find solutions for our problems. So stay out of our issues, and we will not get involved in your issues in America. You will have your own problems. Leave us alone.
So that was our President Cyril Ramaphosa. With me live in the studio, I have Honorary MP Imran Subrathie. He's also the Secretary General for the United for Palestine. Imran, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to News in Focus.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Yunus, and to your listeners, and Jazakallah, thank you so much for having me in studio in your show.
Now, I want to draw a parallel because I know with United for Palestine, you've been telling the Israel government or the Zionists that leave Palestine alone, let them occupy their land, and same with America, stop supporting Israel and causing serious atrocities in Gaza, in Palestine. I want you to wear your president's cap. You know, you in parliament, Imran, and very often I know the ANC government is quite verbose about the ICJ and the support for Palestine. And here the president is openly telling Trump that you now, the new president, you're going to be inaugurated in January and concentrating in sorting out the affairs in America rather than worrying about other countries. Obviously, he has been involved, or America has been involved in supporting Israel, supplying them with arms and causing mayhem in Palestine. Perhaps you just want to draw a parallel to what the president has said openly. Imran?
Yes, Yunus, I think those are very inspiring words by our president. I think it was spoken during the presidential imbizo in the South Coast, which was held recently. And I think those were, I like the clip that you played under the banner of leadership. And I think that's crucial. That's crucial that leaders in times of chaos and mayhem like this need to be firm and need to be clear. What the president has shown is clearly that South Africa is a sovereign state. South Africa, in terms of the Freedom Charter, is very, very clear. The people shall govern. The people of South Africa shall govern the affairs. The people shall attend to their matters. And that necessarily means that everybody who are not the people of South Africa are most welcome to contribute meaningfully, to guide us, to advise us, but certainly not to impose their will upon the people of South Africa. And that mantra is exactly the mantra we have for the people of Palestine. The people of Palestine must decide what they want. We will not, as a country, get involved in imposing our will upon the Palestinian people. And we must be clear, the people of Palestine must collectively set aside their differences and decide how do they want to run their affairs. And I think this is crucially important for people to respect the sovereignty of the Palestinian people, as we want to our sovereignty as South Africans to be respected, and we do not want international involvement in our affairs. We must respect the international sovereignty of the people of Palestine. So, to borrow from our own Freedom Charter, I would say that the Palestinian people must govern, and they must govern fearlessly. They must decide who do they want. They must decide on their policies. They must decide what works for them and what does not work for them, and what makes them a cohesive society. Unfortunately, as we know, Yunus, it is called a Palestinian territory. It has never been run independently. It has been an occupied territory by Israel. And, it is our wish that in our lifetime, we see a free Palestine, that in which the will of the people will prevail.
Shukran. Well presented, Imran. I want to welcome Mohamed Ayaz Carrim. He's the head of our content at Al Ansar Media Network. I know you were earlier on air, Mohamed Ayaz, but welcome to News in Focus live on Radio Al Ansar International.
Always a pleasure, Uncle Yunus.
Now, you heard the clip of President Ramaphosa.
I've got about 19 questions.
And you've also heard our sort of MP, Imran Subrathie. He's also the Secretary General for United for Palestine. Mm-hmm. I'm bringing in this subject in the context of what the president is saying relating to leadership. Right. Leaders must be able to articulate a viewpoint when others interfere. Now, I know you've done a lot of sort of programs relating to Palestine and various other issues in the Middle East. Perhaps you just want to give a comment or two before I proceed with another discussion with Imran on what's your perspective of the comments he made. Was he brave enough to tell Donald Trump where to bail off?
I think what he's saying is pandering to the society. I agree with it. I do think Ramaphosa tends to pander, though. However, no offense, but I got slaughtered the other day on Channel Islam. I was doing a news report, and there was a criticism of the ANC that I completely disagree with. They said that what they do is they are being very cagey with regards to the foreign policy, right? And I said I think the reason for that is with the GNU, we know that the DA has a very different perspective from the ANC, right? And I think the ANC is trying to safeguard our perspective and specifically our stance on Palestine, which I think is something that we all advocate for. The NC has been very unequivocal about it, which we all respect, right? I think once we open that discussion up into the GNU, it's gonna create a lot of gray area, which takes away our integrity as a people, because we have become recognized internationally for our stance and unequivocal approach towards this situation. I got told that tell the newsreader to keep his opinions to himself because it's really unprofessional to share this. I was like, it's not a hot take. As a Muslim, it shouldn't be something that should offend you. It was a Muslim person who got offended by it. Uncle Imran, I'm curious, do you think that is this valid? Or by saying this, that like the ANC has been quite cagey when it comes to foreign policy because we don't really want to compromise. They don't really want to compromise South Africa's stance on the world stage.
Imran?
Thanks.
He threw a question from an answer, but no problem.
Let me be very clear. Thanks, Yunus. It's in Parliament. It's unprotocol for me to reply unless the chairperson requests me to reply. So I'll reply because the presenter.
You're taking all the good habits, but none of the bad habits. Point of.
No problem. It's unconventional, but let me have a shot at it. Let me very.
This is why I gave him the permission.
Let me be very clear.
Yes.
Palestine is a red line for the African National Congress. Let me repeat it. It is a red line for the African National Congress. 1. 2, we are not pandering to anyone on that matter. We are uncompromising. 3, proof of the pudding is in the eating. Mm-hmm. Go to the second order. Go and check it out on National Parliament. Go to the second order of the last day of the sitting of the House, where the special appropriation bill was tabled. And all three debaters of the African National Congress, when they came forward and they motivated for the adoption of the special appropriation bill, carried the flag of Palestine and said that we need funding to carry forward the case in ICJ for the people of Palestine.
And we've seen the funding now. Yeah.
And they've been bold. Now, you know, it's about, as I said,
there was one party that refrained from voting.
They refrained and they did not even mention the name Palestine. And to this extent, my jaws dropped because I'm sitting, we've gone to the highlight already. My jaws dropped in Parliament.
And that was the MK party that had their rally.
Unfortunately, the MK party refrained from voting.
They refrained from voting.
Refrain is the wrong word.
Sorry.
They first, I want to welcome Abdool Valodia. He's commenting. Abdool, welcome to News in Focus.
Shukran.
You want to comment?
Assalamu alaikum. I actually watched that debate and very interesting. I think it was Vivian Reddy. He's the one that Vivian Reddy. He was a person first, didn't refrain. He basically said they don't support it. They don't support the bill. That's what he mentioned first. Now what happened? When this happened, as United for Palestine, when I seen this interaction, we started going live viral. Mm-hmm. And we went viral stating what's happening with MK, what they're doing. And to that effect, trust me, this is how social media operates. When you see something, people start to become viral. And subsequent to that, while this was going on, I suppose there was a phone call came through from the top. Say, guys, keep it on the low end. Do not vote this thing.
Abstain.
Abstain.
Well, look, in his defense, 5 billion
but
of
he
that
first said
was for Gautrain, right?
Yeah.
Not for Gautrain, ETOs.
I think the Gautrains. I mean, no.
The ETOs.
No. That was Sandra. But I think Honorable Subrathie he's got much more information regarding that there, which he's got something in. In fact, we've discussed
the figures.
To you, comrade.
Okay, I just want to sort of deviate from the Palestinian issue. I just brought that up because I wanted to play that clip. It was a very interesting
but that's on the
clip.
Trump issue.
Now, I want to come back to Honorable Imran Subrathie. You basically is your first year in Parliament. and being an activist and getting into parliament. You perhaps want to just highlight the last term of parliament. What are some important aspects that you'll basically discussed that you want to alert our communities out there, Imran?
Thanks, Yunus, for this opportunity to really engage and be part of your show again. And I always look forward to this opportunity to be here, because it's really is an opportunity. And as a mature adult myself, I must say that I haven't seen many politicians take to the airwaves and engage and inform the public over the years. To this extent, and we'll talk about the PCO later because that's in the on the poster, that nobody knows what a PCO is either. So what I'm saying is that there's been a general malaise of a disconnect between parliament and people. And this opportunity, Yunus, from time to time where you invite me when I'm in, allows me, because I'm a local boy, I'm known to the guys, and I'm an Overport boy, and I'm known to everybody. I'm sure, and I'd love to hear feedback from your listeners if they enjoy this opportunity to get feedback about what's happening in Parliament. We're connecting people to Parliament. So there's lots of things that have happened, and before I talk about the highlights, maybe let's just talk about some of the important issues that took place in the last term. I think top of the order, and this is, I'm just trying to recall based on the questions to the president, to the deputy president, to the ministries, etc., who appear, because there's a protocol. The president appears every term, so does the deputy president appear, so do ministries and various clustered ministers appears, and they have to answer questions. So some of the areas that came up, one was the issue of water and water scarcity. What's going on in Gauteng, we're all aware of it, where Minister of Water and Sanitation appeared, and that's been a crucial issue. I recall she has assured us that South Africa has a lot of, and please excuse the use of the inappropriate use of words, there's two types of water. There's the raw water. So she's assured that South Africa has a lot of raw water resources. But what we lack is, I think the term is blue water resources, the kind of water that can now be processed and sent into our taps, etc., for us to consume. That water is in scarcity. Now, the reason for that is a poor infrastructure. So there's two elements of water. There's a whole host of raw water, but that has to be processed. It has to be distributed. So whilst we have an abundance of that, we have a challenge in terms of the distribution and processing of that water to make it potable to ourselves. And that's linked to water infrastructure.
And that's throughout the country.
And throughout the country, but particularly
in Gauteng.
I think that I was going to try and borrow a word from the doctor when they say it's localized. When something is acute, it's acutely a problem in Gauteng. Largely because two factors, and I move on so that people can understand the context. Two challenges we have in Gauteng and in KwaZulu-Natal, and perhaps it's almost everywhere. It's systemic, partially two reasons. We have over 40% of non-revenue water.
Yeah, underground leaks.
Right, two issues. One, leaks, not necessarily underground leaks. How often are we going past and we see water gushing off the roads? Not necessarily underground, even above the ground. So one is leaks.
You're seeing it daily in Overport,
yes.
Abdul.
And the numbers are staggering. I don't think people realize how many billions that actually
correct. And the second thing is illegal water connections. So if you add these two, I'm giving a conservative 40%.
So that's non-revenue water over and above the underground leaks, the surface leaks, and illegal connections.
That amounts to more than 40. I think I heard close to 47%.
I think in Tequeni it's 54%.
Right. Now this is in other words, it means that amount of water we are required to pay to the water boards, but we're not receiving the revenue and the value for it. Consequently, if you do the numbers, that means there's insufficient revenue to service the infrastructure. So we must understand that is one of the key challenges. So that was very, very relevant in Parliament. And I think reason I'm saying this is that people can understand it's not a conversation we're not having. It's a conversation we are having. And it's largely an issue surrounding municipalities. We must understand the minister's job is to ensure as a country we have sufficient water reserves, which he says we have.
So the issue of distribution is a municipal function, is a local function, and that's where we have a challenge. So that was one of the issues that came up. What came up, not regularly, but did come up, was the issue of illegal mining. That was very topical in the last
Very
term.
topical.
That was
Still
very
contained.
topical.
It still is relevant.
Yes, it still is. And it would be worthy to note that 15,000 of the 17,000 illegal miners are actually foreigners. And it's scary how pandemic, Yunus, this has become. I was thinking today, when the minister, the department came before us, you found that around these illegal mines, there's a whole industries have developed. People actually prepare food and meals, and they provide meals to those illegal miners. So industries have developed around an illegal mine. And then you had the scenario also of the question that we need to ask is, who are the purchasers of the items that are mined illegally? Clearly,
we know the answer to that question. Are you saying you support Operation Valam Khodi of this? Because this is the police crackdown, right? While I understand the necessity, especially if they're illegal miners, the way in which it's been carried out is honestly inhumane. And I understand that a lot of people have gone to court, and I don't mean to push back, but I just think that it's it's important to understand and recognize that we have a crime epidemic in this country. If these people are mining illegally in mines that have been disused to support their families, then what is the lesser of two evils here? Would we rather them go out and kill and shoot and steal, or is it government's responsibility to now take these disused mines and make these people give them, teach a man to fish and he'll eat for a lifetime. Give him a fish. We don't need to give people any more fish, right? The situation here with this, I'm just saying, this Valam Khodi, I mean, the police suddenly, now we want to draw a line in the sand. Let's make sure we kill all these miners underground, but we're not going to go after the guy hijacking the BMW. It's just, honestly, it's very selective and it's a little bit hypocritical. I'm just saying.
I think let me respond in this way. Two wrongs don't make a right.
Right.
Let us be very, very clear. It does not mean if something is being going on for 30 years and it's illegal, we can allow it to go on. When you come to your realization, allow me the opportunity to respond. I think you need to be fair to me because you're not the presenter. There's a presenter here. I've indulged you. Let me respond to you. That the minister has made it very clear it's illegal. It's illegal. It is resulting in an illegal operation, and we need to arrest an illegality. As there are illegalities taking place in other industries, this is one such thing. So I think the issue of human rights, we must give credit. South Africa is the vanguards of human rights in the world. And I think anyone to accuse our country of being inhumane would be incorrect and would be improper. I think if we've been following social media, several attempts have been made to try and provide nourishment and try and, be as humane as possible.
Right.
But the reality of it is, these miners are stuck down there waiting for food to be brought to them. That is what I'm saying. And look at the industry that's thriving. They don't come up to have lunch, for example. Lunch is actually taken down to them by other people living in the industry, and there's a thriving industry. So the reality of it is, we need to arrest it, and we need to deal with it in a pragmatic manner, in a humane manner, in an appropriate manner. But we can't say that to not deal with it is the right thing to do. It's the wrong thing to do, because it is a wrong, and the country has to be run in an orderly manner. And for far too long, have we allowed, for the past 30 years, have we allowed our borders to be generously encroached and our resources to be raped? And we need to acknowledge that in our enthusiasm in the dawn of democracy, we became the America of Africa, the land of opportunities, that welcomed all foreigners with an open arm. And what did we see in return? Illegal mining, takeover of, allow me, the point of the matter is, we need to reach a point where we say, guys, where are we going? What is our priorities? Let's start to fix the holes, the leaks in the bucket. And I think this is what's happening, and we need to embrace it in that positive way. And I think the issue of you being humane, etc., for me is a no-brainer, because I'm extremely confident that our authorities will ensure that whatever is done in the most civilized and humane manner.
On, as part of your highlights, a favorite subject we've been chatting about in News in Focus for a number of sessions is about the performance of municipalities. And from the Auditor General's report, the majority of municipalities have received qualified audit reports, save for a few. And the main concerns are, over and above the common problem of corruption, maladministration, is service delivery. And you and I, we live in eThekwini municipality. We've been interacting with them. Abdool daily contacts different people there. I've been in that space for a number of years. And when you drive in the road, potholes, are damaging people's rims and etc. I mean, the other day, my son was driving and he hit a boulder on the road and damaged the rim. He hit a pothole. That damages vehicles, but also water leaks and other problems. Now, I know the president is becoming very serious at a national level of dealing with municipalities. Perhaps you want to update our listeners how this oversight role is going to bring about fundamental changes in municipalities going forward in 2025, because our listeners are listening to all the shortcomings in service delivery. And I meet ratepayer associations, and later on we're going to discuss civic activism, and they're going to play an important role. But government is now concerned that municipalities have to be managed more effectively, and an oversight role has to be played effectively to ensure 2025 is a year of delivery, so that when 2026 elections come in, the right people must be elected as councillors. Perhaps you want to just comment on that, Imran. I think there's been a lot of discussion around those issues.
Thanks, Yunus. And I know it's a topic that's very close to your heart, because you have been at the forefront of local municipality. Let me offer a qualification firstly at the beginning, and let me also offer you that, I recall about 2 weeks ago I was going to be called into a show and I couldn't make it because we were still in the house. And the issue we're going to discuss was, I think I was mentioned on service delivery. So I reached out to some of my colleagues in COCTA. COCTA is the department under Minister Shlabisa, which oversees and responsible for overseeing service delivery issues that we are alluding to. So I reached out to the whip of COCTA to get some information, and she shared a phenomenal amount of information, which I'll be honest with you was too much for me to digest, because there's so much. So two things I'm going to do. I'm going to try and do this for you, Yunus. I'm going to try and get my whip, who's my fellow ANC comrade and sits in COCTA, to try and join us on a show so we can actually disseminate information that is factual. Okay, suffice it is for me to say that I can assure the listeners that the issue of service delivery is, I would say, number one on the list of priority of the government. What I managed to decipher in the notes and that the slides that were shared is there's tremendous amount of budgets and increase in funding that is being deployed to municipalities and provinces to up the game. In fact, in the medium-term budget speech, which was one of the highlights and my first time I witnessed it, the Minister of Finance, Mr. Gondogwena, made it very clear that there will be an increased investment in infrastructure. And I think this is crucial, because when we look at what is the root cause of poor service delivery, a failing infrastructure. So I can assure our listeners there is grants that are being offered to municipalities where they can draw from it, but I'm not the person to respond to that there. But there's a great focus from us to ensure that we equip, we train and mentor and push our municipalities to really achieve the type of outcomes we want to see for our people.
I want to just touch on civic activism. I know we're running out of time. We got about 20 minutes left, and I want to chat about Durban Summer souk and get our doctor to wrap up as well. I know you're part of the Overport Ratepayer Associations. You've been active since since you all started, and I had various ratepayer associations chatting. Perhaps I want to bring in Abdool before you, Imran, on this subject, because he's the chairman of the Overport Ratepayers Association, and his concern was the state of service delivery in and around Overport. But Abdool also shares the platform with other ratepayer associations, Just for a few minutes, Abdul, I think Imran made some very pertinent comments that have come out of Parliament, that the state president is serious about ensuring service delivery. The game is up for service delivery in all municipalities, because there's very few municipalities that have received an unqualified audit report. And we know clearly, living amongst the bigger municipalities, that there are serious problems. So from a civic activism point of view, perhaps, Abdul, you want to sort of give our listeners some indication what role do civics play to ensure there's an oversight role, and how active are civics to improve service delivery? Abdul?
Thank you, Yunus. Just to touch a few bases at what we look at and we try to understand, is that if we look at our service delivery currently right now, and if we compare it to last year, you'd notice there has been an increase regarding, getting issues resolved on a much faster rate. And this happened just after elections, by the way. If you recall, just prior to elections, service delivery, we are hounding, like hound dogs.
Yes.
The ORA, we've been sitting with a lot of issues, sewer flowing almost on a daily basis, burst pipes, we've been having issues with street lights, home lights, all infrastructure was having issues. And it so happens after elections, we notice things have changed. And there is major improvement. There's no cover up from what I'm seeing, because obviously right now, if you look at the area, Center Street, there's a major burst. Actually, I've seen it. I witnessed this burst and I've escalated it. I reported the issue. Immediately, we've got a reference number. Immediately. I mean, the ORA, if you look at us now, we have a division that's called EWS. That's an automated system where we have a person now from the Tikwini municipality that's sitting on Overport Ratepayers Association. As soon as there's any issues with regard to service delivery, if you report your house number, your vicinity, immediately we get a response. And, within few minutes, response comes in, with the service number, and, a team is actually sent over to get it, to get the item fixed. Previously, we were hounding the, municipalities, due to our interaction of civic organization, like how we operated. We managed to get numbers from, through the mayor, through the municipalities. We as ORA, we work directly with the service centers, right? The people that we actually operated with. And whenever we had issues, they used to come out and they used to fix up, everything that we look at. But right now, as we say, EWS is a system that's actually up there, and it's more like automated now. So service has improved, and civic activism is actually very important. We believe still our people are not playing a good role. They're actually dumping stuff on the streets, and this is continuously. You take a drive, you go in the vicinity of Overport, you see major of the issues, major problems that you find is from within our own people. Our own people, they take out their dirts, at the incorrect time. Also, if you look at the sewer system, what happens, with regards to blockages, people are flushing things down the toilets that was not supposed to go through. So these are challenges. So one thing that we need to, actually look at is that we need to look at having some workshop, how to address, communities, to educate them. We need to educate our communities that these are the specific days of bins. This is what you can do and this is what you can't do. Another very interesting thing you see that's going on, we have a lot of student accommodations. And that's also creating major problems. That, we notice that, where we have blockages, outages because of student accommodation. So these guys are also when you look at it, they actually brought up from certain areas and they come into these vicinities and they don't know how to use these infrastructures properly. And this is how it's happening. So, education, plays actually a very major role with regards to service delivery as well.
Okay, I think Abdul highlighted the urgent need for civic activism within the different wards to ensure community participation in keeping municipalities active of what's going on, whether there's, I know in the chat group, you were driving in one of the streets in Overport and you noticed that there was a, water leak, above the ground and a lot of water was being lost, and you alerted the municipality and the communities that, listen, report this to the municipality so that they take action to, repair the leak so that water doesn't get wasted. So civic activism is very important. That's just an isolated example. I want to bring you back in, Imran, is you mentioned about the PCO, connecting parliament to the people. Perhaps in a few minutes, you just want to highlight what's that all about so that our people are educated, that when members of parliament are back in their constituency, there's a process to follow and there are opportunities for people to raise their concerns. Imran?
Thanks, Yunus. Yes, Alhamdulillah. I think the time that the Parliament's parliamentary calendar, let's put it that way, is divided between us serving in legislating and oversight, which necessarily means that we are in Cape Town where we pass laws, we sit in committees, and then we do oversight to ensure that the various ministries are in fact doing what they had intended to do. So that's part of our parliamentary responsibilities, part of the calendar. A portion of the calendar as well, which is a crucial part of our calendar, I think about 25% of it, relates to connecting with the people, the constituencies, those people who voted for us, those people who elected us, those areas where we live, to service the people of South Africa, irrespective of which political party they may be. The people that voted for these parliamentarians, we have a duty to connect with them in terms of relaying to them what's going on in parliament. And hence, I said earlier, I appreciate these opportunities on your show. It allows me to fulfill that constitutional obligation to actually connect with the people. And I hope the community is appreciative of this, and we'd like to get the feedback of it, right? So they understand what's happening. The second thing is to actually deal with issues on the ground. And these are kind of service delivery issues. And Alhamdulillah, Parliament makes provision for a parliamentarian to establish what we call a PCO, or a parliamentary constituency office. Now, if you look around, when I started talking about this term about a month ago or 2 months ago, my wife is telling me, and I think even Abdul is telling me, what's a PCO? We never heard of a PCO entire life. We never heard of any MP having a PCO. We heard of a councillor maybe having an office, but we never heard of an MP having a PCO. So a PCO is an office which is established by the Honourable Member of Parliament, which is the base wherein, inshallah, he is or she is able to connect with the community and attend to their issues. Now the question, alhamdulillah, I'm very pleased to announce on your show that alhamdulillah, I have now put my hand up. As I said, because there's a lot of time, because when you have a PCO, Tuesday to Friday, I'm in Parliament. So Monday is my constituency day. Now, ordinarily, if you got an office, it means you got a whole queue of people. Now you're going to be there, so there's no time for anything else. Then in the evening, you got to fly out and go to Parliament. So there is work and there's responsibility. Alhamdulillah, I'm here to serve the people of South Africa. I've put my hand up to establish a PCO. So that's the great news for the community of Durban. And the constituency that has been allocated to me is called Durban Central and surrounding areas. Okay. I have been allocated premises in that area, and after much difficulty, we have found premises. The lease has been signed. It's effective from January, the lease, and it would be and what was crucial to me in selecting a PCO premises, I said that it must be accessible to the diverse populace of South Africa. It must not only be for Imran Subrathie is living in Overport, for the Indian people of Overport, it must be applicable and accessible to all people. So I am very pleased to announce that my PCO office, inshallah, will be established in Argyle Road, next to Roman's Pizza
at the corner of Windermere and Argyle Road. So it's extremely accessible to the public via public transport on Gamgeni Road. It's close to everybody, to all race groups. It's safe. What would happen there is we also have a budget because practically I'm going to be in Cape Town, not here, for most of the week. So I will have there a support staff or a receptionist that will be there. I'm pleased to also report that I've just in the last weekend interviewed and recruited an amazing individual who I believe will be an excellent front person in the office. She's going to be joining us, inshallah. And then I also have been allocated a field worker. A field worker means exactly that. From the PCO, if he needs to go to an informal settlement or he needs to come to Overport, there's an issue, his task is to go out. So the team here in Durban, their job will be to fix the issues. Whatever they cannot fix, when the MP, that is myself, is in Durban, I will have a series of meetings planned for me, and that's when I will connect with the community. So Alhamdulillah, Yunus, I'm delighted to announce that I will be establishing, there will be an opening, inshallah. I won't be able to invite everyone from Radio Al-Ansar.
We have to do a live broadcast.
But certainly, Al-Ansar Radio is invited to do a live broadcast. And remember, it's not an ANC office. It is an office to serve the people of South Africa.
Shukran for that information. I think that explain what PCO is all about, and the issues will be raised. And what the PCO office will do is, from my experience in the municipality, they will connect with the senior staff in the municipality to deal with issues that haven't been resolved, as well as other issues as well. What we'll do is we'll discuss more of that situation or issue with Imran in future programs, so that he will be able to unpack what are the kind of queries that come in. Because obviously he will be there for just a day or two in the week, and there will be field staff there. And it doesn't mean that they will be able to resolve all the issues. It will mean those issues that cannot be resolved by the councillors and other people, they will pursue that as well. So we'll ask Imran to, or we'll invite Imran to future programs to unpack, because it's a very important office to assist people. We have 10 minutes left, and I've asked Mohamed Ayaz Carrim to come in again and give us an update on a very important event that's taking place next week by the Al-Ansar Foundation. This is an annual event. It is one of the marquee events for Durban tourism. And for the last 2 decades, the Al-Ansar Foundation have been having this event at the Durban Exhibition Center. The name of the event is the Durban Summer Souk 2024. Now, there's been a lot of advertising going on about this event. Thousands of people have attended this event in the last 2 decades, and they come in daily, and because they enjoy the day.
For sure.
But it's a massive event, and it costs millions of rands to put together. Mm-hmm. And that's done for the benefit of the entire country, because those that visit Durban, they come from all over the country and indeed the world. And it's like a one-stop shop.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to use Imran's office to, create more populace to this event, but also get support from government. Because very often when these type of events take place, when I've interacted with the mayor's office and the Durban tourism, they seem to be reluctant to get involved because they got their hands full, but they don't realize this is a tourist attraction internationally.
Mm-hmm.
But the important aspect of this event is that it creates economic opportunities for emerging entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
And many of them that started to trade in the souk, maybe 330 or 340 stallholders,
mm-hmm.
they developed businesses that are now flourishing. But there's more than 1,000 people that are employed for that 13-day period. So you just want to give us some highlights of the Durban Summer Souk, Mohamed Ayaz, for our listeners. What can they expect there? I don't want to single out any particular. You just want to talk broadly about it. Don't do a mixed masala, but just go in a format to explain there's so many number of stalls, and this is what people can expect when they enter the Durban Exhibition Center from the 24th to the 5th of January, the
Look,
13th day
I'll
period.
try not to give you a mixed masala, but my head is so all over the place. So we are.
I know you had a meal of mixed food, etc.
Yeah.
But
the perks of being the head of content.
But don't go all over the place. Now, just be methodical. Tell us a few pertinent issues relating to the Durban Summer Souk.
So I think the main
that our
thing...
listeners will come in large numbers out there, because I know we made the entrance fee very affordable just to cover some costs there.
Yeah. So I think the main thing, this is going to be it's the souk of souks, right? Because our footprint, we have like over 100,000 people every year. This year we've really tried to create an experience for everyone. We're not appealing to necessarily just your shoppers or just your foodies, which are always covered. I mean, this year we've got 3 food courts. There'll be even a trailer park with we tapping into that culture of.
So there's enough to chow for everybody.
More, I mean, the amount
guys
I've
that
eaten
love
on
chow,
radio in the last week alone will
money
tell
chows,
you.
there's everything for them.
Everything your heart can desire. It's completely international cuisine. We've got people from all over. What's also important, you mentioned the vendors. There's over 300 vendors, but we've got a lot of vendors actually who come from overseas. I think the thing that resonates with a lot of our audience is if you have younger children, especially during this holiday time, it's hard to find something that's going to satisfy that level of excitement and anticipation. I think the beauty part of the souk is we've got everything from clown shows to amusement park rides and everything. But a lot of the times, I think as a parent of young children, you feel like, I need to sacrifice my own sort of enjoyment for my kids, which is what parents do, right? It's your job. Nobody we didn't ask you to have 4 under the age of 4, but you did, right? But you can have them fully satisfied and enthralled while still being able to satisfy your own urges of be it shopping or food. And I spoke to somebody yesterday who said, my daughter's doing her internship in Durban, and my sister furnished her whole flat at the souk last year. She furnished the whole flat at the souk. Like, I mean, think about it. We've got 100,000 people.
She got it at the souk.
Everything she required, she got it at the souk. To furnish
from furniture, from lounge fees, the works.
Everything.
Right.
I remember my father a few years ago bought this beautiful antique chair at the souk. It's still sitting in my house.
So those 330 traders, they got everything
from
food to the works.
Yeah, everything. Like there's something for everyone.
Kiddies like fun fairs. They like all these various things. There's enough for them.
All of it is there. So there's everything we've got. So, that's a
variety of nut.
We're getting. They looked at the main. That brings me to a main.
You've got two or three carries from Cape Town, one guy from Joburg.
I think the MP also we can get into recite.
It'll be. I think we can do a. I'm actually in charge of that main stage, so I can put you on the stage. But we have Dawood's is our main sponsor, and they have the thing called this Dawood's entertainment stage. So essentially, every day from 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock, there'll be a main stage. We have everything from live comedian shows to live cook-offs. We've got big influencers like Fems is coming through. She'll be cooking. And Fems has got over 1 million followers on Instagram. She'll be cooking live at the souk. We'll be doing our presenters. I've set up a bunch of game shows actually that we'll be doing live.
There'll be live broadcast from the souk.
And then also we'll be doing shows like this, these town hall shows where on Friday nights, where like Mohamed Variava on Nightline, stuff like that. We'll be doing these live shows that'll be broadcast on radio, but our audience, we're actually inviting them to join us and participate in the shows. I even want to do an Islamic sort of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is a bad example, but a quiz show, essentially.
So what you're saying in a nutshell is there's enough for everybody. Now, what about the Salah facilities for myself, Imran? We are particular about Salah. We don't want to miss.
Also ladies as well. Also ladies.
And this year specifically, so I know in the past that there was an issue. They had ablution facilities for women that was outside. We have made sure that it's all state of the art. We've spared
so you're saying
Salah
that
facilities.
There's enough for Salah facilities for men and ladies. There's wuzu facilities there. There's Jummah taking place.
Parking.
At the end of the day,
in terms of security how's the arrangement?
Very secure.
Security, we have top security company.
And the thing is, the event carries until 12 o'clock. So we've taken that into account very seriously, because at the end of the day, we live in South Africa. We understand that crime is rife, right? But we've covered all those bases. It's important to remember what you mentioned before. This is about enjoyment and fun for those who can't necessarily go to Mauritius on a holiday. But at the end of the day, it's still a community upliftment initiative, and which has the core values and beliefs of Muslims. And at the end of the day, we are not giving you any excuses to say, I'm having fun, I'm going to miss my salah. You will hear the azan. There will be facilities. It'll be very convenient.
And
so
we
it's
have
not going to be putting you out of
basically
your way.
world-class qaris that will be there performing
Everybody.
the salah and providing Qiraat
Rashid
recitations.
Kazi will be there from our show. Everybody's going to be there. And if you want to meet any of your
I think also you can get the MP to meet the people there, because never you had a political figure to be there. We can get meet and greet the MP.
So we expecting plus minus about 15,000 people daily to come in there.
So I know, I think last year there was one day it was recorded that they had about 30,000 people, the footprint in and out.
The venue can take that crowd.
100%. It's bigger than ever before. Like I said, with the 3 foot.
So there's parking facilities enough.
Yeah. And
underground parking at the Smart Exchange. There'll be open parking across the thing.
Yes.
There's parking at the ICC. So people don't have to.
And the Hilton is revamped. So if you don't have accommodation, they're running a special right now. So you can go book
people can go into Hilton. There's lots of other places for people from other provinces. We'll chat more about the Souk 2024 on another program, but it commences next Tuesday and runs on till the 5th. Yeah. So all are welcome.
And we're starting with a banger. So from Tuesday, we've got a fresh show starting immediately from the time we start. It's going to be exhilarating, and it's one not to miss.
So all are welcome, all groupings, non-Muslims, Muslims.
Yeah, this is not a Muslim event. This is a community event with a Muslim ethos.
Okay.
But a Muslim ethos is, as we all know, very inclusive.
Right.
At the end of the day, we are catering to our people, but we are not discriminating or pushing anyone away.
Now, Mohamed Ayaz, we need to wrap up. I know you can talk the whole evening.
One more last thing there. Do you have a stand for Palestine there?
We'll discuss that issue, Abdul, maybe with our organizers. But what I want to do is now, Dr. Yasir Sacoor has been listening quietly, and I want him to give us his closing comments. Yasir, you have 2 minutes. Your closing advice. I know you're passionate about ensuring that our old folk are taken care of, because many of them, they are breadwinners in the house. They're very caring type people, but sometimes they care for others and not themselves. What's your advice to our old folk above 50, and some are nearing 60, 70, 80? What's your advice to them from a medical perspective, Yasir?
I just want to say, listen, have hope, have patience, and if there's anything that you're struggling with, there is help. Going on with the ongoing theme that our Honorable Minister said this evening about community upliftment, there are avenues, and I'm offering avenues as well, such that you can pursue medical screening for your conditions. And it's better to sort out the upstream factor, so before you get disease, rather than something happening and you unable to seek proper medical treatment because the damage has been done. So as I said, you're free to contact me. My practice is opposite Kawi Park. From January, there's free medical screening from 9:30 in the morning until 10. By appointments, you can contact my number 083-656-9194, or on MediHealth Surgery, that's the name on Instagram, TikTok, and just educate yourself. It's all about providing value to the community and ensuring the best health for patients. That's perfect. The best thing you can do for yourself and your family.
Shukran for your support to the communities. What we're going to do going forward in the future, I know you wanted to touch on the medical facilities in the government hospitals and your experience out there, and there's a need for improvement, and maybe in a future program with our Imran Subrathie, we'll ask him to see if he can get maybe the minister or deputy minister to share some of the important comments that you make and improve the facilities out there, because I know Muhammad Hussein Suleiman also raised some concern, and it's all about improving and giving feedback to the parliamentarians to improve service delivery. Your closing comments, Imran.
I think just before you go to Yunus.
Yes. Abdul?
A very interesting thing I think we missed is that, if we looked at this recently, I think Imran can touch on this one here, regarding the 12 members of parliament.
Yes, I wanted Imran to cover that in his closing comments, because, what you're saying, Abdul, is...
We've never seen something like this before.
And Imran also raised the point, today's parliamentarians, they come in new, they're now being proactive, they want to serve the communities.
Correct.
I wanted to make a joke about it, from my experience.
Okay.
A lot of these parliamentarians used to go there, not only have a holiday in Cape Town, but come back and have a holiday here, and you're going to force them to do something. Now it's becoming, and you mentioned there's 12.
There's 12, shining stars, flowers, they call them.
That have attended more than 90%, 94% of the meeting.
Attendance, yeah.
And that is a classic example to how parliamentarians should conduct themselves. Perhaps in your closing comments, you just want to touch briefly on that, Imran.
Jazakallah. Thank you so much, Yunus, again for having me on your show. And just to finish off that, alhamdulillah, there is a track record kept of parliamentaries and attendances as meetings, and I am deeply honored that I am in the top 6 of the MPs at 89.5%, 90%, and that is managing 3 portfolio committees. So it's never easy, which means that in any particular week, you've gotten at least 2 committee meetings, and sometimes they overlap. So when I haven't been there, it means there was an overlap. But I think it's on social media. I just wanted to very quickly, as part of my wrapping up, and maybe we can talk about this another time, I wanted to talk about the foodborne illness and the government response to that, and the need for spaza shops to register. And those who are food handling, and it's been extended to the 28th of February. And I think this is a crucial community responsibility. In our areas, if they are spaza shops, it's food handling, we need to ensure as a community we encourage them to register. Okay, so we can talk about the cause of it because it was discussed in detail. But I just wanted to just compliment Al Ansar on the amazing community work you're doing and the phenomenal souk that's taking place. And, as a parliamentarian, I appreciate, a capitalist, when a capitalist starts a business, he asks, what's the bottom line? What's the return on investment?
What's in for me?
When a government invests, they ask, what's the return on intention? How many jobs would we create? So I want to compliment Al Ansar truly as a parliamentarian, because when I see the souk, I see the social responsibility being fulfilled. I see phenomenal amount of job creations. I mean, you mentioned 300 stalls. I mean, if you added all the other games, I mean, I would think at least 2,000 jobs would be created, and that's 2,000 families will be looked after. That's just primary. Look at the secondary job creations. Those who are creating the raw materials and the goods that's coming there to be sold. So there's a secondary. So support this with good intention, that you are supporting employment creation, you're supporting job creation. People, if they are successful, inshallah, in those stalls, they will have food for their home. So I think let's focus. Let's as a community, you can help make these stalls successful. Secondly, it is a means of fundraising for Al Ansar Foundation, and we must be honest about this. Those stall holders will have to pay a fee, and Al Ansar is a public entity that depends on donations in order for it to do it. So let's support it, and let's be there and for good intentions, that this is a noble project. I mean, inshallah, I'm planning myself such that I can be there. I know I've been invited next week Friday. I'll just be keen. You said it's very cheap, so no one told me what's the entry fee.
It's 30 Rand for the entire day. So, and that 30 Rand is towards the cost of the infrastructure. It costs millions of rands to set up, and that basically recovers. We're not out there to make significant profits.
Okay.
And as you said, whatever the surpluses are, last year a significant amount of the surplus was used towards the problems in Gaza, and then we also put up a borehole in one of the schools, and we also donated 100,000 towards the prison board to assist the prisoners with facilities.
So I think this is crucially important, Yunus, that you must articulate this. That, I mean, for a family coming with 4, that's $120. That's a lot of money in this day and age. But I think if our people can understand this, that when you go to a takeaway or restaurant, you spend 300 rands on a meal. When you're giving this 120, make this intention that, Ya Allah, I'm giving it away for a noble cause.
It's a donation.
It will be used by Al Ansar to continue to doing the great work. So I'm encouraging your listeners, Yunus, to be part of this phenomenal responsibility. I mean, I've been involved in smaller scales, but I know year in, year out, to do it again and again. Huge responsibility, great commitment from your team, from the leadership of Al Ansar, and I wish you all the success, and I really hope our listeners out there will support
Shukran.
you guys.
On a closing note, when we did the media launch, we did a comparison of the entrance fee of other fairs, ECR, and our costing is 30% of what the others were charging. The average cost was between 120 to about 70. 30 Rand is basically just to recover the cost, but we want to make this facility accessible to all the people. So we look forward to everybody attending. Just on another note, we also took into consideration that a lot of traders may not have the funding to pay for the stalls. So, our board decided that at least 10 traders will be given support to trade, and the profits they make, they can utilize those profits to enhance their businesses going forward. And we always adopt that approach. We are awaiting a response from government to give us support so that we can bring in more indigent traders into the process. But unfortunately, this year we didn't get much support. But I will be using, our politicians to assist us to meet with the board of ICC to assist us in ensuring that more indigent traders are given an opportunity. I'm just going to go through a couple of WhatsApp messages. Assalamu alaikum, mashallah, lovely. I read most of my time. I don't sleep. I read most of my time. Mashallah, topic, never being to a souk. I wish I could go. I'm in Durbs. Your family are not far away. Please attend. Don't have much friends. Gee, your show. Really enjoy. Assalamu alaikum. It's wow. Don't talk to strangers. So people are enjoying the show. I meet a lot of people that say that this show adds value because we try to keep it simple, but we'll continue to keep it simple and bring in people that talk to us. Salams, I want to play Hangman, Crypto, whatever. Salams, please, can I get to Dr. Yasir Sacoor's contact number? Jazakallah. Yasir, if you can read your contact number. No, normally when there's free services, people respond, but I know you're doing it sincerely. And you came on the show to say, I want to help people. I want to give back to the community. This is why I'm here. And it had to come from Sacoor after all. So go for it. Give your number again. And as long as, it's assisting people, that's what we're here for.
History of, working for community people as well. So Yunus has been out there in the municipality for years.
Please now give your number again, Yasir, and your TikTok number and various other numbers so that we can then get some feedback to the people and assist them.
Kind words to the panel as well as the listeners. I really appreciate it. And as I said, it's to uplift the community and give back. And then if you provide value for patients, if you promote patients, if you empower patients, I'm sure that they'll provide value and they'll be trusting of you. And that's the main thing in life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala determines everything. And if you chase something, if you chase this world, you won't achieve it. But if you chase the akhirah, you will achieve whatever you want and you'll be provided with peace in this world.
Thank you.
So you can contact me via WhatsApp. The number is 083 656 9194. And my practice is based on Kawi Road. So it's opposite the Checkers on Kawi Road. The Checkers, Woolworths on Kawi Road. It's opposite the Astron Energy and just down the road from the bread ahead. It's called the bread mill now. Yeah, Problem in Keys.
Yeah, so Yasir, you're going to get a large number of people coming in there. So you must be ready to give people appointments and assist them. That way, alhamdulillah, you'll be providing service back to the communities. And we hope Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses you with the sacrifice you're making.
Ameen.
Alhamdulillah. So I think they've got your number, but if they don't have it, they'll contact the Al Ansar and inshallah we'll give them the number. We ran out of time now as usual. Sometimes I run my shows till 10:30, 11:15. So we're going to have a live show next week at the souk next Wednesday. So we encourage our people to join us there for that live show. I'm not sure what we will have. Perhaps we might have a town hall show or a debate or whatever. Imran Subrathie is around. He will join us together with other politicians. Let's, enrich our people with information, with knowledge. Let's try to work together to improve service delivery so that next year, this time when we drive in these roads, we'll see all the potholes patched. We'll ensure that our verges are cut. And we have to now provide support to our officials in the various municipalities because a lot of them need mentoring training. And experienced guys like myself will have to talk to the politician, Imran, and see how we can capacitate these fellows to improve service delivery rather than signing the register in the morning, returning in the afternoon, as the mayor said. So inshallah, we will be committed to that. On that note, my closing comments are that, as you mentioned, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide our communities. Very, very important is for us on a personal note to obey Allah's commandments as shown to us by Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. And prerequisite to that is our 5 times salah. Let's keep up our salah, and then when we turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the du'as will be accepted. So until next Wednesday, that's the closure of News in Focus for this evening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.